can't help it. My mouth itches right now.
Your mouth itches.
You ever have the roof of your mouth itch?
Is it like when the inside of your foot itches and you can't get it?
Yeah, I get that in my neck and my shoulder a lot.
It happens to my hand. It's the worst.
Have you ever thought about that? How does she itch your hand?
Or like my forearm or my shoulder.
You rub it up against something like Baloo.
And then you just look like a weirdo.
Your face, you're shaved.
What, me?
Yeah, she could rub it on your face.
Yeah, that's true. You could rub it on my face. Do you want to rub your hand on my face?
No, I'm okay.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
You can.
It's not itching right now.
There's been situations where like she has a hair stuck to her arm and she's like, Robert.
That sucks. I hate that.
Makes sense.
Things that we don't think about.
There's a lot of those. People, how do you tie your shoes? How do you put on a bra?
Same way you do, but with one hand.
Yeah, that's what you should do. And then you just flip the person off and say, fuck you.
Oh, well.
Mind your own business.
I used to react that way and I would get in trouble.
From who?
School.
Fuck
Teachers.
them too. They don't know what's up. You went to a Catholic school. You saw what happened to one of the highest ranking Catholic officials today, right?
No.
Jail.
Aren't they all going to jail right now?
Yeah, pretty much.
Jail or finger quote jail?
No, he's getting thrown in jail. Sorry, prison, not jail. I mean, he'll go to jail.
Fuck you in the ass prison?
Yeah, pretty much. What was that from?
Office Space.
Not a minimum security.
Not conjugal visit jail.
Hi. Hello. Welcome to this week's episode of 9 to 5 Nerds with Robert Swathwood, Katrina Swathwood.
Hello.
And Eric Galactus.
What up?
Do I always say Galactus on here? I think I have.
I'm pretty sure you have every time I've been on.
You and Alan are the only ones that have alias last names.
Yeah.
Yours just because. His because he doesn't want people to know his actual identity.
Do I know his last name?
Do you know his first name?
That's not his first name?
No.
No, I don't.
No.
He is an enigma.
He's a mystery. I'm the trigger, man. Anyways, I almost want to start this week off by talking about my medical situation that I had last Friday. Is that too much?
Let's do it. Sounds fun.
Uh-oh.
It's like
Eric's excited.
It's almost like a good thing to have you here for this one.
Well, as long as it doesn't happen to me, which was what happened the last time you had.
The testicle thing?
Yeah.
It wasn't this.
Okay.
But it does have to do with the ass.
The nether fun nether region.
And I know you've had situations.
Yeah.
That reminds me. They called me to make an appointment for a camera.
Okay. You should call him back.
I did that last year. It's good times.
Was it a colonoscopy? Like a full colonoscopy?
Yeah.
They're not doing a full one. They just want to...
They're doing a baby one.
Yeah, like there's two different kinds. Well, they're not worried about... They're worried about like directly... They're not even worried about it. That's just a precautionary thing. Directly... Not like directly inside, but not very far inside.
They don't need to go up into the first part of the colon.
I don't know. I'm pretty open on here. I talk about just about anything.
You do.
Damn, I think I'm starting to get sick.
Me too.
You think you're starting to get sick?
I'm trying to fight it.
Great.
What?
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
Let's cough all
Are you
over
starting
you
to
before
get
you.
sick?
I'm a little sniffly right now. I don't know if it's just because need some Benadryl, but we'll see how I
Mine
feel
feels like
tomorrow.
allergies. And
Yeah.
the thing that Oliver has isn't contagious.
Nope.
They said it's localized to him. Just him. Anyways, so I drive for a living, and I was driving on Friday, and I have a route, not a paper route, but I have a route, and I finished my route. I was like, I really need to take a shit. So I was like, all right, I find, like most people, I think, that have a job and are away from home, you have bathrooms that you like and bathrooms that you don't like.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a bathroom that I do like. So I went there, and I'm going to the bathroom, and everything's fine. And as everybody knows on here, I'm a stander to wipe. And I stand up, and the toilet is completely filled with blood. And I'm no stranger to having the occasional blood situation, but not dripping from behind me into the toilet. And are you shaking your head like you had this happen?
So good news, I have had this happen before, so I don't have to relive it again. That's why I had a colonoscopy last year.
Yeah.
And it's always nice when you go through a whole procedure and then they're like,
You're fine.
no clue. You're good.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so it was. I've had the occasional blood situation before, and I'll get to why it happened. And if that's too much for you, you might want to just skip forward 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
I'm cool with that.
We're already 5 minutes in, so
yeah, I should have said that to begin with. But you're more than welcome to skip forward 10 minutes. So it was a lot, and I went to wipe, and the toilet paper was completely saturated with blood. Eric's nodding his head.
Yes.
So I cleaned myself up, and I messaged my doctor, and I messaged the 9 to 5 Nerds local medical professional. And the medical professional was like, yeah, you should probably go to the emergency room. And I'm like, and then right when he was telling me that, my doctor's office called, and they had a triage nurse call me, and he ran me through a bunch of questions. And he goes, well, are you dry now? Or are you sitting in a puddle, or what's going on? And I'm like, I'm dry. I'm fine. He's like, well, you should probably go to urgent care. We don't have an appointment. And I was like, I don't get off till later today. Is it an emergency, or can I wait? And he's like, you can wait. So I go to urgent care after work, and just like it's not like the emergency room, but you still wait at urgent care. So I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. And I finally get in, and this very smooth talking Hispanic man comes in.
Suave, I think, is the word that you use.
Yeah, he was.
Or suave.
He was awesome. He was he talked really fast. He was like a super nice guy, and he was like talking to me about the first time he had blood come out of his rectum. And
bonding time.
Yeah, so he's like, the first time they did it, it was whatever, and he's like it's probably just hemorrhoids. He's like, everybody has hemorrhoids at least at some point in their life, and if they tell you they haven't had them yet, don't have them, it's just because they haven't had them yet. Everybody has them at some point. I'm like, all right.
Oh, cool, man.
Cool. And I've dealt with it off and on my whole life. Well, since I was 16. So I assume, or he tells me about colon cancer, which is always the first thing you want to hear. And he's like, they basically cured colon cancer. They're like, it takes 15 years from polyp to death. He's like, so as long as you get it checked out, it's like, it's such a slow growing thing. It's like, anyways, so this big Hispanic dude with the gigantic hands makes me assume the position, and goes into town finger first, and puts a large plastic tool back there that has like a light on it.
I'm glad I didn't get this part.
Yeah, up there. And he's like, okay, clear. He's like, oh. And I was like, well, apparently I had 3 ruptured internal hemorrhoids, and that's why I was bleeding. And I mean, it basically just felt like you might be able to feel me here, Eric, is that ever since I had my vasectomy, I have no shame. I don't care. Like, I had the ultrasound on my balls. I was like, I don't care. They did this. I didn't care. Like, I really just don't care anymore, because I feel like now that I've had my balls operated on, and they handled it like it was like, a fucking piece of meat. Like, it's like there's just everything's business. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm just like, I don't care anymore.
I didn't really have much shame before, but I mean, getting a vasectomy, it's like everything's numb, but you're just having a full-on conversation, staring at a little towel while dude's chopping away. When I had the testicular torsion, though, I did get a little uncomfortable. Like 4 different people, like, all right, drop him, and then,
yeah,
diddle.
Yeah. I with the when I had my vasectomy, the doctor and the nurse were having like a full on conversation. He was like, "What are you doing this weekend?" And I thought he was talking to me, and I was like, "Oh." He's like, "No, I know what you're doing this weekend." Yeah, the whole time it feels like you're basically taking a shit as it's coming out, like this thing, because they insert it and it like pushes out really fast, so they have to check everything real fast. And I know somebody else that had it. I won't say their name, that did it, and they said that the whole time they were just apologizing the whole time, and I thought that was fucking hilarious. Could you imagine getting it done? You're like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Well, when my dad had his cysts taken out, it was after he had his brain surgery, and they found all these little cysts all over his body, and he wanted them all out of his body. So we went into the doctor's office, and they just started cutting him open and taking out these cysts, and he was cussing the guy out, even though he was all numbed up. And like the only thing he could really tell is that when they like close you up, it smells like burnt hair.
Yeah.
And so my dad would start cussing this guy out, and he'd say, I'm sorry. And then because they were giving him shots in the areas where they had to cut him, and he hates needles. So that was really weird and interesting to experience. Because I had to drive him.
Yeah, but so he said it's a 99.999% chance that that's where the blood was coming from. He said, can I rule out that, blood didn't come from somewhere else as well? No, but I mean, now that I saw this and that's the situation, he's like, I want to do one, like I said, the little camera thing where it's not a colonoscopy, but they want me to get a colonoscopy. You're not supposed to get it till you're 50, right? 50?
I wouldn't know.
I think it's 50. Yours is earlier because your family has...
Yeah, they told me... Well, I've already had 2, and before I was even supposed to have 1, so...
He said that I should probably start getting mine in my mid-40s and get it every 5 years instead of every 10 years, but he wasn't worried about anything. This thing's just precautionary. He said, if they don't get back to you right away, it's not a big deal. But, yeah, that was my Friday.
Woohoo!
It was an interesting day.
Good times.
Yeah, it was not fun. It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't...
No, I mean, like, it wasn't like, hey, you're fine, get out of here. It was the same thing. I had internal hemorrhoids. But just staring, you're like, yeah, blood's not supposed to come out of there that much.
No, it's alarming. Like, you're like, oh.
Thank goodness you're not women.
And I had a few times. Well, then that's something that is supposed to happen, though.
No, I know.
This is not something that is supposed to happen. It's not a natural part of our bodies.
Can you imagine being confused because you don't know where it's coming from?
Yeah, that's what happened last week.
No, I mean, like, which area if you are a female?
Well, yeah, I guess that's, a thing. But like I said, I mean, speaking as a man to a woman, I'm sure that most women have experience with there being blood in the toilet.
Oh, yes.
So as a man, no, I am not used to having blood in the toilet. Especially
after having a baby.
Yeah.
Lots of blood.
Yeah. Man, nobody wants to hear about this.
Well, let's hear about it.
God, after Oliver was born, there was so much blood. So much. They couldn't get Katrina to stop bleeding. They almost took her to the emergency surgery. And they finally got it taken care of before they had to take her out. But then they left because everything was fine. But there's blood all over the floor and all over the sheets and all over everything. They just left. And I'm like, this is like a fucking crime scene. What the fuck? It was terrifying. It's
because the placenta wouldn't actually detach, and that causes the bleeding to continue until it's completely done.
Oh, you didn't see?
No, I didn't see. I didn't care.
The angle.
I was fine.
It was like arm in to like the elbow.
I just see Robert like looking around like, what's going on?
Yeah. Well, it was scary.
Like The Shining?
What part? Oh,
the elevator?
Yeah, it was like that. Yeah, so that was Friday. It was an interesting day, but I am fine.
Yay!
Yeah, another.
You live another day.
Yeah, they did all kinds of urinalysis and blood work too, and everything came back fine.
Normal.
So I'm good to go. Yeah.
Fist bump.
Yeah, air fist bump, air bump. So, moving right along, Captain Marvel came out this last Friday.
It did.
Nice segue.
Yeah. Before we get into how the movie was and what we all thought of the movie, there was a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of people, but a very minor amount of really loud people complaining about this movie. Like before, ahead of times, like, did you see that Rotten Tomatoes had to take down 50,000 viewer ratings?
Yes.
Because they were bombing it and stuff. And there was a lot of, we'll go back to it, a lot of mostly white men bitching and complaining that
lighting their torches.
Basically, Brie Larson had asked for more diversity at her press conferences or her press
that's an
briefings
awful thing to ask
for the
for.
movie. There was never a lot of people were saying she doesn't want white men to see this, and that's not the case. If you sit on that side, you should probably stop listening to the podcast. I don't care if we lose a few listeners. That's not what she said. She wanted more diversity at her press briefings, and for anybody that
Doesn't want to include everybody or doesn't want to include the minorities.
yeah.
You can just see yourself out.
Yeah, you're gonna lose. This is gonna happen. And people are like, well, they should stay out of politics. They shouldn't have it. Everybody is entitled to, even you assholes are entitled to your opinion. It may be wrong, but you're entitled to your opinion. Anybody that is out there that is trying to make it equal for everyone,
Is
more
not a
power
bad
to
thing.
them.
Right.
More power to them. So I feel like we just needed to address that before I tear the fucking shit out of this horrible movie. No, I'm just kidding. I enjoyed the movie. I'm not going to break down what I didn't like, but what did you guys think of the movie? Eric, Katrina, not Corey. Empty microphone over here.
Yeah. Someone's late. I really liked it. I thought it was a good, solid kicking off point for getting a character out there that we haven't seen before.
Excuse me.
Nice. What else? I think they did some really good character development. I really like seeing Nick Fury and where he was coming from and that kind of starting point. I didn't think Ronan looked like himself at all, to the point where I thought it was somebody else playing him.
I did the same thing, and then the credits, they showed him, and I was
Right.
like, no, that's
No,
the
it was,
same
it
guy.
was
Yeah.
Lee Pace. What I said to her is, I'm wondering if for Guardians 1, he bulked up, because it was a fairly large role, whereas this, would he really want to bulk up and do a full training session for the movie to be in it for spoiler?
He's
was in for,
supposed to be
8 minutes.
younger, and maybe he's went to prison or bulked up for prison in the time that we see him in Captain Marvel to where we see him in Guardians. Who knows? I just didn't realize it was him. It kind of sounded like him, but it didn't, and I was just really confused about that. Let's see here. I still haven't read Secret Invasion, so I don't know the whole Skrull backstory.
Scroll.
So I didn't have a dog in that fight, so to speak.
So you didn't know who was good and who was bad?
Right.
But it's kind of weird because a lot of people speculated, myself included, that the next big story, because this
For Endgame?
15-year story arc ends next month, from the beginning of Iron Man to now. And for me, I thought the logical point was, since the Skrulls are shapeshifters and Secret Invasion was such a big deal, that nobody knew the Skrulls had invaded and infiltrated the Earth until I believe Spider-Woman died and she turned into a Skrull, and everybody's like, what the fuck? And then it had been this long withstanding thing that had been,
Who's a Skrull and who's not?
Who's a Skrull, who's not? And I thought that was going to be the next story arc, but I already said spoilers once. It's going to be a bunch of them. They
That's
basically
obviously
make
not the case.
the Skrulls the good guys in this. They're not. Real quick, I wanted to ask you guys. Okay, so the guy that was the main Skrull in this movie is the bad guy from Dark Knight Rises, and he was the bad guy from
Ready Player One.
Yep.
Do you think he sat in that makeup and put all that Skrull stuff on, or somebody else did and he just did the voice?
I think
I think it was
I
him.
think it was him. I'm just curious.
It seemed like the correct facial structure.
Because with somebody like Gamora for Zoe Saldana or Drax for Dave Bautista, it's obviously them because it's minimal amount of. It's a ton of makeup, but there's not a lot of prosthetics. Where this is full prosthetics. If you would have said, "Hey, it's somebody else," you wouldn't have really known.
No.
But
How happy was he to be a
good guy?
A good guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't get to play very many good guys.
He's like, oh man, I'm a bad guy. Oh wait.
Yeah. Sorry, continue.
Some feedback I had gotten from people was that they felt the character in general was flat and didn't really have any personality. And I just didn't understand that perspective because she doesn't have any memory of who she is. How are you supposed to have a personality and a way about yourself when you don't really know who you are? So I really didn't buy that. I liked the way she presented herself, it was a little weird at times, but then again, she doesn't have any memory of who she is.
People are saying that she lacked a little bit of charisma, but every scene between her and Nick Fury was great. Like, they had great chemistry, and the interactions between them, there was a ton of emotion.
Right.
Whether it being, them going in a car chase, being excited, being scared, whatever. I didn't think she was flat.
She was very empathetic, and it's just, I think people expect way too much. And, she was being compared to other parts that she's had where she's done an amazing performance in, but it's a different character, and we're talking about a completely different part of cinema. So, I think she did the part justice. I had no qualms with her portrayal of the character.
I don't get to read comics as much as I'd like, but I'm very unfamiliar with Captain Marvel, so I can't lend to what the character's like in the book. So I'm kind of at a loss there.
You know what? You could take what you just said and the scene in the movie where she's looking at the map and the guy on the motorcycle is like, hey, give me a smile, whatever.
Yeah.
Like the same shit that guys do to women all the time. Like, you should smile more, whatever. It's basically the same thing.
Right.
I mean, she did a great job, and people might not like the way her attitude in the movie or whatever it was, but it was good. It worked.
My only complaint is that some of the longer dialogue scenes did seem a little wonky and did seem a little flat, but I don't blame that on her. I just feel like there wasn't a lot of them, but I noticed a few of the longer scenes where there wasn't much going on and they were just talking, were just like a little...
Where are you going with this?
Mediocre, as opposed to the rest of the movie, which I thought was great. The Smile More thing, which I thought was a nice touch. I would like to say that I've never told a woman ever that she should smile more. However, we do have a friend who never shows her teeth in a smile ever. And I always give her a hard time about it. And I'm like, you never smile with your teeth. Why don't you ever smile with your teeth? And after this started coming up, like, I felt guilty, and I talked to Katrina about it, and she's like, no, it's not even close to the same thing.
Right.
You're just giving her...
This is somebody that that they do this as their part of their personality. This is a direct kind of...
I would never say that to a girl that was just standing there or some random person. I'm just giving this specific woman a hard time just because,
for example,
we tease each other.
People that I would work with that I was not close with, they'd just be acquaintances. Why you look mad all the time? How do you know? I was like, well, what? Like, well, you always are frowning or always in a bad mood. And I was like, I don't even talk to you. Like, how do you know that I'm in a bad mood?
She's just been like, bitch, I don't know you.
It's the same thing. It's just you're expected to be bubbly and smile and laugh at everything. It's kind of an expectation.
Which is funny because she smiles a lot in this movie.
Oh, she does. I think she had a great attitude. It was very flippant, and I liked it.
Yeah, I gave my only complaints. I don't really. I have some good things to say, but I'll let you go ahead, Eric. What'd you think?
I was an adult. I actually made a list, but
did you?
Yeah.
I've tried to do lists in the theater as I watch movies.
No, I did when we were texting yesterday, and I had all the ideas right there. I was like, okay, I gotta remember them. For me, same thing. I never read Captain Marvel. I haven't read a comic book in years. I know the Skrulls were bad, but I never read Secret Invasion or any of that stuff.
It was good.
It was very nice of Marvel to make me sad right when the movie started with the opening scene.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marvel.
I teared up. Did you like his cameo?
Dude.
I didn't notice it was the Mallrats script.
He
You
didn't?
didn't?
No.
Oh.
We're walking out of the theater, and I'm like, oh, you must have liked that. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, he was reading his part in Mallrats. And he's like, I didn't see that.
So
I saw the Kevin Smith thing ahead of time, how he was like crying since he knows now that he's
part of their universe.
He exists in the Marvel universe, which is cool for him.
So are you talking like his picture on Instagram that he posted where he looks like he's crying?
Yeah.
There was I watched it earlier today. It was a whole video, like probably 10 minutes long, of him talking about it.
He posts so many videos and they're so long I don't watch them anymore.
I was trying not to watch this one, but I was.
You got sucked in
I
the
watched
rabbit hole?
into it anyway, or I was made to watch it anyway. Yeah, he goes on that it was a couple months after Stan died. Kevin, he said his name is pronounced Fahey. called him. It's like, hey, I need to talk to you about Stan's cameo. And he's like, I'm going to tell you. You can't tell anyone. He's like, oh, fuck yeah. And so he's like, he told me, and he's like, get the fuck out of here. He's like, I didn't believe him. I couldn't believe this was happening. And, you know, he told me the whole process, and he's just like, I couldn't believe it. And he's like, I'm telling my friends that he called me, and they're like, oh, you didn't think he was calling you? They're like, hey, we need you to direct a movie. And he's like, fuck no, I'm not
that guy.
Director. No. But I mean, that was a cool video that he posted. He got emotional in the video too.
Yeah.
Talking about Stan. So.
Yeah. I mean, I remember where I was exactly in the spot where I was when I found out that he died, and I was emotional. I teared up in the theater on the intro for this, and you haven't seen Spider-Verse yet, have you?
Yeah. Wait, actually, hold on. So I'm like a month behind. The last episode I listened to was the one with Emma, and sorry, I can't remember her friend's name.
Leo.
Have you talked about Spider-Verse every episode
Yes.
still since then? Okay. Yes, I got
He's
an email.
continuing the trend.
I got an email from Best Buy today that my copy shipped, and it will be at my house by next Tuesday, so we can watch it next Tuesday again.
But the cameo in that made me cry. Like, as he's like, you know, I knew him, and I'm like, I'm starting to cry while watching it, and then it turns into the like no refunds part, and then I'm like, okay, I stopped crying. But I guess he's in Spider-Verse 13 times.
Really?
12 or 13 times. Yeah,
There's also a lot of connections with numbers in that movie.
He's also the person that steps over them when they're laying in the street after the subway thing. But I haven't seen the other ones. I just heard that he's in it a lot. But no, I didn't catch it. I was waiting for the Kevin Smith reference the whole time while she was walking.
Dude, it was so like obvious. You watch it again and you just be like, "Fuck, how did I not see that?"
Well, I didn't see the script. I saw him reading. I'm like, why does that sound so familiar? Because he's reading lines.
Yeah, he read the line that he tells Brody.
Yeah. Yeah, so I missed it. I thought that it would be like, oh, his stuff is in the video store at Blockbuster, you know? Like, oh, she picked up... I thought maybe she was going to pick up, like, when she picked up that videotape.
The right stuff.
Yeah. I wanted to know if you guys noticed this. So there's the car chase through L.A. where she's on the subway and Fury and Coulson are in the car.
Okay.
Do you feel like, and I really got this feeling as I was watching it enough to where I wrote it down. Did you feel like they used, however the camera work was, however the lighting was, looked exactly like a 90s action movie? Like, I don't know if they used different lighting. I don't know if they went back and watched movies from the 90s to make it look like
the way they spliced it between the scenes.
No, it's just like it's almost like a lighter, grainier, almost just doesn't look like a movie that was made in 2019. That came out in 2019. It looks.
I think it tried to feel like it was more of a 90s.
It looked like it could be a car chase out of Lethal Weapon.
Okay.
Like, I'm just like, this really looks like just a little older to me, and I'm assuming that was on purpose because that's the feeling I got.
I think it's also the environment too. You're looking at older cars. You're looking at just a more 90s. Grittier, LA. It's not.
I think LA still looks like that.
Oh my God, it looks awful. I hate going in there.
That's so I did not notice exactly what you're saying, but I think it's just because LA is fucking gross.
It's so gross. And we're all from San Diego, and we all fucking hate LA. Everybody, whether they want to admit it, hates LA. It takes, it could take you an hour and a half to get 12 miles
for no reason
in LA. For no reason.
There's no
terrible.
Accident. There's no car stalled. It's just that way.
You know what's actually funny? It happens to me all the time now. Is whenever we go to Disneyland now, or if I have to go up to my corporate office, which is in Huntington Beach, I've never hit any traffic in Orange. I know it's Orange County, but still, I never hit any traffic. As soon as I get to fucking Oceanside, Carlsbad, then it's like 45 minutes till I get.
We had that happen the last time.
When we came back from Universal Studios last time, we got to Oceanside. We were stuck in Oceanside for like 45 minutes.
Every time I drive back now.
I'm like, what the fuck? This is stupid. God, I hate LA.
Yeah. Well, okay, so your 90s thing, where the scene where they come, she takes a ship. I don't know what it was called. The one that they took out into space and she comes back in, her co-pilot, and the other character's name was Minerva. That scene, like 100%, that scene was Independence Day when they're flying through the canyon,
Yeah.
Okay.
If she would have ended crashing her ship into the canyon while the other one flew out, it would have been 100%. So it's probably like 75, 80%.
So they did a lot of referencing.
Yeah.
Which is it made it fun. I mean, it definitely stood out. The soundtrack was okay.
Well, see, it's different for me. Soundtrack was
Really?
excellent.
I like the soundtrack a lot.
But see,
I've got years on you guys though, so
not many. Like
yeah, come on, man.
I had
How many years?
I've had my formulative years in the 90s. I mean, that's my
Like the two albums
6
I
to
listened
16.
to in 6th and 7th grade was Daft Punk Homework and Tragic Kingdom from No Doubt. That was constantly playing in the background.
I wasn't a Garbage fan. I wasn't
either.
No Doubt fan. I'm trying to think of the other, like, if I had to pick between this and Guardians soundtrack is way better than this, and that wasn't my time period either.
I would actually, I'd give it number 2 still. But I think the music, not to say I listened to any of that music or grew up on it or anything for Guardians, but I think that soundtrack fits the movie a lot better.
Yeah.
Even, I'd probably give part 2, like, let's say 3rd place in Marvel soundtracks.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I mean, and besides a few bands, I didn't listen to all that, but it's like I was 15 years old
Yeah.
in 95 and just nostalgia. You know, that was actually, so soundtrack was one of my notes I made. And actually, I'm not going to take credit. I read this online when I was snooping around for info after. There's this, I think it's the scene at the end when they're on the ship and they capture her and they put her back in the AI. And the scene starts with a record player playing.
Okay.
And Nirvana song comes on, Come As You Are.
Yeah.
And so they're in her head. That song came out in 1991. And she's been off Earth since 1989, according to all the details we got in the previous few scenes. So, I mean, all I have is tiny little nitpicks like that for stuff that bothered me.
Uh-huh.
The rest of the soundtrack, I could be like, okay, it's a quote unquote period piece.
Mm-hmm.
So you need 90s music. If they wouldn't show the record player in that scene, I wouldn't even have went along with that theory. But just one of those little.
I get that
things.
it was like a who's who of 90s, chart toppers. I'm not really complaining about it. It was never really my music. Now I'm trying to think of what I listened to in the 90s, because I was 6 to 16 in the 90s. Man, I'm gonna be 35 this year. Wait. That means you're gonna be 40 next year, right?
Yeah, I'll be 39 this year.
That means the person who I said needs to smile, doesn't smile with their teeth, is gonna be 40 this year. Yeah, time is a going.
It is.
Man, I almost cried in the Stanley cameo too, just when she kind of smiles at him. Fuck, man. And his cameo is going to be in Endgame. He already filmed it.
Yeah, I read that.
You look like you got something to say, Katrina.
No, I'm just looking to see what was on the soundtrack besides just a few.
As much as I'm not a No Doubt fan, I did like the fight scene that went along with that song.
It was a great placement.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
REM was on there. Salt and Pepper was on there.
Salt and Pepper was on there a few times, weren't they? No, TLC was on there.
TLC was on there.
The Hole played during when the credits started.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Hole.
Did you notice when the lead scroll, what was his name, Talon?
Yeah.
I think so.
He came in and he's drinking that soda really slowly. I saw a side-by-side shot of that from Pulp Fiction with Samuel L. Jackson drinking the soda from Big Kahuna Burger in Pulp Fiction.
I know what scene you're talking about now, but I didn't see the side by side.
I saw a side-by-side picture of it online. It's pretty close. Like
it's fun. It's a throwback.
Yeah, they do these little
nods,
which is pretty cool.
I love the way Nick Fury lost his eye.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Because you're wondering the entire time, like, how does this guy lose his eye?
And it was something like along the lines of, in the past, it said he trusted somebody that burned him. And it turns out it's not like a spy or a double cross. It's
right.
a fucking flirkin.
That reminded me of Solo when they give Han Solo his name.
I liked that. I really did. Everybody else hated it.
Either.
I didn't. The movie's whatever to me.
What, Solo?
Yeah.
I liked it.
I liked it.
I think that is another movie that people just wanted to shit on for shitting on sake.
Yeah.
Like it's not a great, it's better than all the prequels to me.
Agree to disagree.
You thought some of the
Oh,
prequels
sorry,
were-
prequels.
Yeah.
No, I'd rather watch episode 3 than that.
And that's debatable. Yeah, I could sit and argue that back and forth. But no, episode 2 is fucking god awful. And episode 1 has the Darth Maul thing and the pod racers is okay, but I'd still rather watch Solo. Yeah, I didn't have a lot of problems with Solo. It's people. There's a group of people now that are just shitting on Star Wars just to shit on Star Wars because it's not what they fucking shit changes.
It's
Get
because
over
they're
it.
cool for shit on Star Wars.
They're not.
No, they're not.
Like I never want to read the comments, but I do anyways.
I don't. I stopped reading a lot of stuff because it just pisses me off. Like I'm tired of being mad.
Well, this guy was like, he was just shitting on Captain Marvel. He hadn't even seen it yet. He's just shitting on Brie Larson and shitting on Captain Marvel and blah, blah, blah. And at one point he said, well, I've been reading comics since I was a kid and blah, 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 blah. So, of course, I click on the person's profile. They live in a city that's adjacent to ours. And I'm like, you know, in when you're in the comic community, it's a pretty...
You get to know people.
Yeah, you get to know people. You run into people at different stores and stuff. And I'm like, I've never seen this guy. And he's a very noticeable person. And I was like, I've been to lots of small conventions around here too, and I've never seen this motherfucker. So I started to type something out and I went to post it. And I'm like, no,
it's not worth it.
No.
If people are just at the point where they don't want to like something, they're not going to like it regardless of even if it's good.
Because when it comes down to it, Eric and I were talking. I think that this is better. I think that Captain Marvel is better than the first 2 Thor movies.
Okay, I would
easily.
agree.
I think that it is above the first Captain America for me. I didn't think that was the best movie.
I think origin stories in general are hard.
They move slower. I feel like Black Panther it wasn't an origin movie, even though it was his first movie because they introduced him in Civil War.
Right.
So there wasn't as much explaining to do because I think Black Panther was way better.
I think the best origin
Captain
story is Iron Man.
Yes, Iron Man is the standard, the gold standard for...
And that's going to be really hard to overdo. Like, I don't think there's any way you can.
But I think this is a middle-of-the-pack Marvel movie, which is still saying it's a good movie. I enjoyed it. It's not the best movie ever.
No.
You know...
I didn't know Annette Bening was in it.
God, she looks like Elizabeth Warren, doesn't she? Is it just me?
You think so?
I think she does.
Maybe a little.
Maybe it's just a...
Maybe the way her hair's cut.
I could not remember Annette Bening's name. I'm just like, who is that? Why does she look like Elizabeth Warren?
Can we talk about how'd you
No.
get the Tesseract?
I'm sorry.
Who?
So we were discussing this in the car because Robert's like, how did they get the Tesseract? It's not on Earth. And I was like, no. I was like, Cap crashed into the ocean with it.
He crashed into the ocean.
So we don't know who gets it from the wreck.
Didn't Stark find it at the end of the first Cap movie?
I don't remember.
S.H.I.E.L.D. had it. How did she get it?
Well, she worked for a private government organization.
Right.
It's not that hard to think that it went from one place to another.
And then disappears?
It got lost.
Sorry.
Things
People
get
can't see
lost.
finger quotes on me.
Yeah.
Finger quotes. Psh, psh.
Things get lost in the government all the time. I'm sure S.H.I.E.L.D. misplaced something, or there was,
Like, haven't you seen those?
Loki walked in and got it. You know,
You haven't seen those like wooden crates in Indiana Jones that they put in those warehouses.
That warehouse.
Yeah.
The one warehouse where everything is at.
Yeah. God forbid anybody ever finds it. You have the Holy Grail and everything else.
Ark of the Covenant.
No, it wasn't. If Alan will laugh, but I would give the movie a B. I think it was a solid B movie. Not as B as in like Bruce Campbell movie, but B as in a letter grade. I enjoyed it. It did have a little bit of wonky dialogue. Like I said, I love the word wonky, by the way.
It's a good word. I enjoyed it.
But it was a good movie. Like I could see where some people complain. I could see where some people think it's the greatest thing ever, but it was just a good movie. Nick Fury's most screen time of any movie he's been in Marvel.
You think he'll beat that with Spider-Man, or you think they'll tone him back a little?
I think they'll tone him back a little bit. Oh, God, I can't wait to see Spider-Man.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun.
I just hope that taking him out of New York, it still translates well. We haven't seen him anywhere else. I mean, we're all under the assumption that Mysterio is creating all those monsters that you see in that trailer, right?
I'm assuming so, yes.
I feel like it's a symbiote, not symbiote, syndrome from Incredibles, where he has like the big robot and he's creating the problem so he can fight it and look like a hero. That's what I feel like's happening.
That's the idea that we have based on what we know.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a good theory I made up.
Okay. You made it up?
You had a theory that you made up.
Yeah.
I like it.
for Captain Marvel.
Okay.
So at the end, after they save the day and they're back at the house, like having dinner or whatever, and the two kids are playing the Skrull child and
The human child.
yeah, I don't remember her name, the daughter or the mother.
Rambo.
Damn it.
That's
Yes.
her last name.
Close enough.
Monica.
She's in the
wasn't-
military. You can call her by her
Monica
last
was
name.
the girl, the
Okay.
little girl.
So they're talking, and she tells the Skrull kid, like, you should never change your eye color. And then they pan to Captain Marvel, and she has this look on her face, and I'm like, shit, was Jude Lawson a Skrull? Because his eyes
Yeah,
were
the
very
weird
vibrant.
eyes. Yeah.
So maybe he's a Skrull. He never changed his eye color. She didn't kill him. She sent him back to their planet. So then I'm like, if they make another Captain Marvel movie, it could be before Guardians still, and she's fighting their planet or whatever, or he could come back and start the Skrull invasion still.
Yeah. It'd just be a different faction of Skrulls.
So I mean,
I like it.
they turned the tide because everybody's, like you said, years of conspiracy theories that Skrull secret invasion. They could still do it.
They could. Huh. I like that.
Possible.
And I'm assuming it made $500 million in the first 4 days worldwide, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna get a sequel. It's not an.
Well, they can have so much time to fill in between when she leaves and when she reappears.
So that's what I want too. I don't want the second movie to be about the Skrulls. I want the second movie to be, let's say, 10 years from, let's say 2005. So before Guardians. And she hooks up with the Ravengers and they bring back Yondu.
I'd like that.
I think
great.
that'd be a good idea.
He messed with the kids at Comic-Con. It was funny.
It was really funny.
Parker didn't know what to say. It'd be interesting because this Captain Marvel almost kind of starts the whole thing off, even though it's the second to last movie. In one way, with the time period that it's in, it almost starts the whole thing off. You know what I mean? It'd be interesting if,
it's
like
a whole
you
other
said,
branch of the tree.
in 10 years, she's the one that starts it all off again, like with whether it's Skrulls or whatever, that she kind of starts the whole thing off. That'd be interesting. You know what? I do have another complaint. There wasn't enough Coulson for the fact that
Poor Coulson.
the fact that he got to actually come back and he didn't get. I love Coulson.
I'm still here at Blockbuster.
Yeah, that was good. No, I enjoyed it. I don't have a lot of complaints.
I don't either.
Who would listen to me anyways?
No one.
Every time you're talking about more downloads.
Was it the same?
Somebody's listening.
They were
Yeah.
part of Star Force. Isn't that the name of the thingamabob on that one planet that was in Guardians?
Thingamabob on the Nova Corps.
Yeah. Oh, okay, there you go. It looked like the same symbol.
It's similar.
But I don't think it was the same because, I mean, there's the Nova character in the Marvel comic universe. I think it's different. Could be completely wrong.
The symbol looked similar on their little uniform bobs.
You know, I read that they referenced the Pegasus Project in other movies that have already come out.
That we just didn't catch because it
Yeah.
was like a minor thing. What's crazy is next month. I know you're only interested in half of this, but we get the next Avengers movies next month. But we also get fucking Game of Thrones. I know that's not big on you, but it's fucking huge,
It's
man.
huge.
It's huge. It's gonna be a huge month.
Were you disappointed they didn't have an Endgame trailer for the movie?
No, I don't need another one. I'm good. I'm excited. I've thought since the beginning that we're gonna either lose Cap or Iron Man or both. I really feel like still that at least one of them is gonna die in this next movie. I know there's a lot of rumors that there's gonna be time travel in this next movie, and because there were screenshots taken of the Avengers and their different superheroes in their Avengers 1 costumes, which are different from what they're wearing now.
And I've seen them in all those screenshots. They all are wearing something on their hand. It looks exactly like the device Deadpool uses in Deadpool 2.
The
To time
time
travel.
travel? Huh.
Before Infinity War came out, I got super deep on conspiracy theories. And since they were just kept filming for Endgame, I had to stop because I read all kinds of shit that if anybody's in the movie, I'm like, fuck, I already read that.
Yeah. But I mean, time travel is such a hard thing to do, though. It's like.
But I mean, all those. I remember. I think it's the same pictures you're probably referencing. It's all of them in their costumes from the first Avengers movie.
Yeah, the fight in New York.
It's Thor with long hair. It's Loki, but Ant-Man's with them.
Yeah.
So some
I don't
shit's
want to
gonna
know
happen.
anything.
Yeah.
That was like too much, and then I was like, I need to stop.
You need to stop. Yeah.
But I did the first after credit scene.
Great.
The theaters, let's say at least 3/4 away full, and fucking Black Widow turns around and she says, "Where's Fury?" And I was like, "Oh shit!" like old school Brian yelling in the theater.
Old school Brian. He still does that. That's not old school.
I won't go to a movie with him.
He still does it?
I don't know because I don't want to go to a movie with him. It's not worth it to me.
I'm willing to put money he still does that.
He does. He has to.
What was the last? It was Super Troopers 2. Didn't he?
We
go with
did.
this?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
We were all loud in that whole theater was loud. It smelled like weed and just
Did you guys see
not from
Deadpool
us.
2 together?
I saw Deadpool 2 with Ethan and Corey number 2.
Okay. That's
After
correct.
this episode, Corey number 1 didn't show up. I think Corey number 2 is now Corey number 1.
He's been replaced
He's
officially.
been demoted and promoted. Yeah, the last trailer or the last after credit scene, whatever.
That was amusing, but it was like the Ant-Man after credit scene. The
Ant playing drums.
And I was just like, okay.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Man, I'm so excited about Avengers.
It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be good.
I took off the day it comes out and then the following Friday.
So you can go see it again.
Yeah.
Nice.
We saw Infinity War in the theaters twice. It'd probably been like 10 years since I had seen a movie in the theater twice.
I saw Spider-Verse twice.
I know.
Everybody knows Robert.
No,
No, that'll be a Sunday morning viewing.
That sucks because I have to go 2 days without looking at anything. But no, we
Which
booked
should
for
be
like
easy when we have baseball season.
Yeah, we do like the first showing of that's spring break. Isn't that the end of spring break? When does it come out?
I think it's Friday, April 27th. Which
Okay,
I will look
which is
right
the
now.
week after spring break ends. And no, we booked the first showing Sunday mornings. Maybe we should go see it Friday.
We gotta find a sitter.
April 26th, sorry.
Okay.
47.
You look like you're gonna die, Katrina.
I need a Benadryl. I think that is the problem.
It's allergies.
Yeah. From where, I have no idea.
I wanted to talk Wizards Unite, but I can't do that with you on here.
Because you're just gonna blast Pokemon Go out of the water.
Plenty of Pokemon Go experience.
Yeah, but I mean, this sounds like it's going to be the same but completely different at the same time.
It'll probably. I mean, I never played it, but it's probably like their other game. Do you remember the name?
I don't remember it off the top of my head.
So Sorry, we're going to talk about it now briefly.
That's fine.
I would assume it uses all their same stuff. So like any Pokemon stop or gym would be the same stuff because that's the same stuff in the other game. So I mean, basic mechanics, I would assume would be exactly the same.
You can find random things going along though, like dark wizards, different characters from the Harry Potter universe. You can also find port keys where you can step through portals and you'll be transported into something from either the movies or the books or something. It seems pretty interesting. We'll dive into it more when we have some people that are Harry Potter people on here. No offense to you.
That's fine.
It's not anything that interests you, so I'm not going to dive
drag
into
you
that too
through
much. Yeah. What's interesting is I think if you look online for the release dates of future Marvel movies that are actual Marvel movies that aren't previously Fox or Sony, I don't think they have specific movies tied to specific dates yet. I mean, yes, there's a Black Panther 2. Guardians 3 is still in limbo because they don't have a director. I know that they have dates specifically out for movies to be released, but I don't know if they're officially attached to it. You might be able to find a list that has some movies that says when they're coming out, but I don't think there's an official attachment to anything yet.
Because what phase are we going into?
I don't know.
I don't know if it's Captain Marvel or maybe Spider-Man. Wasn't it supposed to start over? Like Endgame was supposed to end that, and then we're starting over.
Yeah.
Reboot time?
But technically, Spider-Man Far From Home isn't a Marvel movie. I mean, it's in partnership with Marvel. It's a Sony movie, though. But the Fox-Disney merger is complete as of next week. It might be this week. It's this week or next week. So I want to know...
Where does Dark Phoenix fall on that line?
That's a Fox movie. I don't know.
Because they're promoting it as kind of a Marvel venture.
Well, they've always said Marvel in front of them. they've never.
Yeah, I finally watched Venom, and at the beginning it says like Sony, but then huge in association with Marvel.
Yeah. Did you like Venom?
It's whatever. I didn't.
I liked it.
You're more into Venom than.
But haven't you ever? I mean, without that even being the case, haven't you ever seen a movie that everybody said was shitty, so you didn't expect anything? Then once you see it, you're like,
hey, this is not so bad.
I think one of the biggest problems for me is I don't really care for Tom Hardy.
really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because he doesn't like good things.
Tom Hardy's great.
I just whatever. I don't care.
Have you ever watched Peaky Blinders?
No.
He's like my Charlize Theron. I
don't-
just do not care.
You know, a lot of people like her.
Well, that's what she's saying. We don't like her for who knows what reason. I just can't stand her.
So take that feeling and apply it to Tom Hardy.
Okay.
But I do like Mad Max Fury Road, and they're both in it.
Yep.
I have never saw it.
You might like that movie.
Probably.
It's a really good like action movie. It never stops. But yeah, it's going to be interesting how long it takes before we get some Fantastic Four news. Because it's
kind of out
it's
there.
a franchise that hasn't been done right ever. So our Spider-Man and X-Men have had good movies.
Right.
Fantastic Four hasn't. None of them are very.
Who's going to claim that title?
So I mean, I know the big thing in Hollywood is sorry, not Hollywood, but the big thing in the fandom universe is most people want John Krasinski and Emily Blunt to be Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman, including me. I've seen the mock-ups of them. I've seen people, put them in the costumes and they look badass. I would be way on board with that.
I'm down.
And obviously they like making movies together, so.
They do.
I read that there was this thing that they're trying not to become just another, Hollywood burnout couple, or they're trying to keep their family together on what they do, and they won't spend too much time away from home and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
They're trying to be a normal set of parents. And
did you see? You didn't see A Quiet Place, did you?
No.
It was pretty good. It's
was
worth
good.
a watch. He directed that and starred in it,
And she was in it.
and she was in it.
she was in it.
It was pretty good. Yeah, it was Captain Marvel. Good movie. I wanted to talk Wizards Unite, but I need some more Harry Potter people here for it.
That's okay.
We can all stare at this empty microphone.
Empty microphone. He said he'd be here. Texted him, said where you're at. Never got a response back.
What a surprise.
I got called up to the big leagues tonight.
Yeah, you had to fill 33%. You talked a lot more in this episode.
Yeah.
Yay.
I do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Gold star. You don't want to talk indictment?
Indictment.
You didn't see the news today on the college thing?
Oh, no.
Did you guys watch the Aladdin trailer?
I did.
I did not.
I
saw it.
liked it.
Yeah.
Did you like any of the other live action movies they've done?
I actually really liked The Jungle Book.
Okay.
Good movie.
I did not care for Beauty and the Beast.
Average
Okay.
movie.
It was okay. It wasn't fantastic. Not my thing.
From the previews I've seen for The Lion King, I'm not sold, but if it's like The Jungle Book, then
But it's
You'll be
John
fine.
Favreau, and he did
Yeah.
Jungle Book.
yeah, so I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you. Beauty and the Beast was okay. Jungle Book was good. The Alice in Wonderlands weren't.
No.
They were fun to look at. You know what I mean? It was interesting to look at, but that doesn't make a good movie.
That's for a Tim Burton fanboy.
So is Dumbo.
I want to see that.
Yeah,
I like Dumbo.
Dumbo's fucking terrible.
But they're going
I
to do
like
a
the
different kind of
cast.
story. Like, it looks like it's
oh
going to
yeah,
be
no,
different.
I like who's in it, but I didn't see Big Eyes. But when is the last good movie that Tim Burton made? I'm not cutting out that silence from this
Did he
episode.
do Big Fish?
He did Big Fish,
Okay.
and I heard Big Eyes is really good, or Bright Eyes, or whatever it's called.
I think it's called Big Eyes.
I have no idea.
I have to see a list of what he did last. Let me look it up.
So I don't have a lot of confidence. Plus, I don't like the source material because I never liked Dumbo, and it's just meh. When are we getting this Peter Pan fucking live action
You already had one.
Hook?
No.
That's a good movie.
It is, but it was
I think the only other ones they've announced are Lilo and Stitch and Mulan, I think.
yeah. But I'm assuming at some point Peter Pan's gonna get made.
Yeah.
It has to. It's one of the biggest, or the most loved. when you're waiting in line, you know how that line is always fucking long
Yeah.
no matter what. When you're waiting in line at the one in Florida, you actually go through the house of the kids and you see Tinkerbell like jumping off the walls and stuff.
Nice.
It's really neat. Like I think it's just because they had more space there as they were building. They made the lines much more entertaining. Like we don't have a mine train at our Disney, but
That's a good roller
it's a good
coaster.
ride. But as you're waiting in line, there's this area that has all these big jewels, and if there's 7 of them, and if 7 people are spinning them all at once, they all light up, and Snow White appears above the gems. It's really cool.
That I have noticed. I haven't used it because I need my battery life to play Pokemon Go at Disneyland. But there's like one of the apps, probably the
Heads
official
Up?
one. Was it where you play games with other people
Yeah.
online?
Yeah.
Have you
Wait,
tried it?
No, I haven't.
Not with
tried
other people
that.
online. We play with ourselves.
No,
Oh,
that's,
okay.
he's not talking about the same thing we are.
Okay.
We play Disney Heads Up at the parks,
Oh.
where you hold it to your head.
Oh.
And you guess what's on there?
That's fun. Makes time go by fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feed my Pokemon addiction.
Did you see that? You see that the Millennium Falcon ride is opening, but the Rise of the Resistance isn't opening. Like they're opening the rides in phases for Star Wars Land.
No, I didn't
Really?
hear
Yeah, and I guess for the first 2 months, there's going to be a reservation system for it, so you can book online.
that. I can't go
That's
anyway. I'm blocked
crazy.
out.
For how long?
The entire month of June and July are blocked out for my pass.
You don't want to go anyways.
No, I do not.
I never go in June, July, or August.
No one wants to
even.
go there in that time.
We're going to renew our passes in October. That's when we do our big 3-day trip.
Halloween.
Did you see that thing I tagged you on Universal Studios?
I did.
They're doing like a dark arts.
It costs money though.
Well, that's for the premiere. It's going to be a nighttime show.
Okay.
But yeah,
You really think Parker's going to be wanting to do that?
I don't care what he wants to do.
You sit there in the corner and you
sit
watch.
and you watch.
He's very anti-Death Eater, Robert.
I know. That's all right. So am I.
Not that
I always get really sweaty when I'm at your house. I don't know why.
It's a little warm right now.
I'm like sweating a lot.
Well, we're gonna end the show anyways. So to everybody out there, the Books and Brews episode's doing really well. The downloads look good. We've been downloaded in United States, Canada, Australia, Italy, UK, a few Middle Eastern countries. The response has been pretty cool. If you're one of the ones that liked it, let me know, and let me know what you liked and what you didn't like, and we're gonna do one again in April. We already have both the places. We're gonna be doing a Serpentine, which is a cider place that's in San Diego, for the beverages, and we are going to be doing Werewolf, which is Katrina and I's favorite place
So good.
in downtown San Diego, which is on 4th. Yeah, so those are going to be the 2 places. We're narrowing the books down now. If you have any interest in your book being on an episode, please DM me at 9to5nerds on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. Yeah, we've got some pretty cool stuff coming up. We're going to be doing another episode of the Movie Challenge. You can find the first one right now on Patreon. If you want to become a patron, it's on there right now. The next one will be a free episode. It'll be on regular. I think I said it last week. I'm thinking every 3 or 4 episodes we'll put one of those on Patreon. We'll never put one of these regular episodes on, but one of the specialty episodes, they will make their way onto Patreon occasionally. So if you want more of us,
more content.
that's a way to get it.
Oh,
That sounded really bad.
you just went to the chiropractor
I just
today.
went to the chiropractor today. It loosens everything up.
Yeah.
But that'll be this week's episode. Thanks for talking tonight, Eric.
You're welcome.
Yeah, there was a lot more.
Good job.
Yeah, you did good, kid. You did good. But that'll be this week's episode. We're out.